College sports have become America's favorite pastime. For many, game days are filled with alcohol, good laughs, celebration of their alma mater, and the passion that follows sports has turned into somewhat of a religion. A student athlete is a participant in an organized competitive sport sponsored by the educational institution in which he or she is enrolled in. Statistics from the NCAA say that more than 460,000 NCAA student athletes, which is more than ever before, compete in 24 sports every year.
My name is Gino Miller and I play football. I always wanted to play college football and I always wanted to play professional football. It brings out qualities in you that most activities can't do, and it teaches you to work with people that you don't necessarily want to work with simply because you both have a common goal. So I think sports in general and being on a team teaches you good life skills that'll carry you a long way.
Student athletes must typically balance the roles of being full-time students and also full-time athletes.
It's definitely harder to keep up with schoolwork because it's basically a full-time job. This is what we come to school to do, is play football. Ultimately, it's a lot harder to get the schoolwork done in college than while playing football than it would be for someone in college who's not playing football, just because of the hours that we have. We practice 5 hours a day between meetings and actual physical practice, and then on game days, it's essentially a 6-hour process for us. And that limits a lot of the time that we have to get things done.
Member schools support their student athletes' academic success by providing state-of-the-art technology, tutoring, and access to academic advisors.
My name is Charlie White and I'm an academic tutor for the athletic department here, mainly working with football players. I think it's really important for athletes to receive academic support. A lot of them are pretty busy with their endeavors, so I kind of just walk them through it and kind of give them the individualized attention that sometimes they need to get that, because in a class 100 people, they can get distracted or whatever, and they might not be able to put in all the time that we're able to put in outside of class. So sometimes being able to sit down for an hour a week and just kind of talk through things can help them get that material.
I think the university does a good job in well, at least for me specifically, has done a good job of putting me in contact with specific advisors and tutors that I need for my area that I may be struggling in at a particular time.
More than 8 out of 10 student athletes will earn a bachelor's degree, and more than 35 will earn a postgraduate degree. This data from the NCAA highlights the academic success of most of the student athletes. And while this might be true, a very large percentage of student athletes are not prepared academically for college. Professors had students that were not able to read or write in a proficient way. In many of these cases, coaches were able to focus on keeping their players eligible, and therefore they committed academic fraud. The NCAA sets rules and regulations over these student athletes, a term coined by Walter Briers to preserve amateur status. By doing so, Briers gave the NCAA a way to avoid player compensation.
A scholarship isn't enough to put food on my table or clothes on my back, especially when I'm up here for the summer, because my coach requires me to be here and no one else is here and I have no way of making money. And I think that's a huge problem for athletes. Me personally, I think athletes should be paid for what we do, simply because we sell so many jerseys and we create so many revenue streams for universities and the school in general, and we don't get anything tangible for it.
The idea behind Briers' phrase, student athlete, is that competing for these colleges gives players the opportunity to get an education they may not otherwise have received. And while this might be true, learning is often overlooked by these large programs. One player explains that at the end of the day, catching an interception for his school is much more beneficial than receiving an A. This begs the question: if learning has been held to a lower standard and large business deals have taken center stage, then is it true that all-star running back is still a student and not an employee?